Hello guys, so today let us look at how we can bulk delete our data. So I have a very simple application here where the user can upload their CSV file and it's going to be displayed using a table. Because this table, then we are setting the column width, prevent overlapping, and then we are using an upload button. So let me run this application so that you can see how it looks like. So this is the application, and then I'm going to upload the data. Then as you can see, okay, it's overlapping. Here the problem is supposed to 50. Okay, now that's going to work. Yeah, as you can see, it's space. So we're going to add a checkbox here. Then after adding the checkbox here, we'll add a button here so that we can perform some actions. The selected data item. So the first thing we need to do, we need to add a variable that we can use to track our selected rows. So we're going to use a map. It's going to take the row number and then a boolean to tell us whether we have deselected or not. We can just say var selected rows, going to be a map integer, which is going to cater for the row number, and a boolean to tell us whether it has been selected or not. Now, since we are adding a new column, we need to get the dimension of our table, that we have one extra column. And then another thing we have to do, we have to update our template so that it can contain the hbox. Okay, so we're going to use it can contain the checkbox. So we're going to use a horizontal box to display the checkbox beside the other data. So this is how we're going to do it. You're going to use a horizontal box so that here on this left side we have the checkbox, and then on the right side we can have this data. So after updating that, we need to come and update this so that it can be able to handle everything. So what we should be able to know here is that when you are dealing with updating these template labels here, because this one is defining the template, and this section here is updating the template above. So we have to update to add the checkbox, and also have to add the label. So the checkbox is going to appear on the left side of the data, and this is how you're going to do it. First thing, you have to ensure that the checkbox is hidden when the the column number and the row number is going to be, the IDs of course are 0. If they are both 0, you have to hide them and only display them just below it. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to comment this out, then I'm going to say if id.call equals to 0. Okay, then if id.row equals to 0, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say object, we're going to hide the checkbox, and we're going to set the label to empty. Object Fyne container with objects. Now this is going to be at position 0. Then going to supply the widget dot check. Then it's going to be hide. Okay, I'll show you in a minute why we're doing this. Then I'm going to copy that, but this is going to be 1. and then this is going to be a label. I'm going to set text to empty. Okay, and then if it's 0, we're going to do that, else 0 is not equals to 0. We have to define our checkbox, and we also have to define our label. Okay, you can just call it CB, which is going to say object, cost is going to be a fine. Copy this. Copy this. Let's check. Okay, so copy this for the label. It label, this is going to be 1. Just going to say label. Okay, then initially what you're going to do is you're going to say the label going to be empty. Going to say the label is going to be empty. Then we're going to show the checkbox. We're going to show the checkbox. So let us run this application so that you can see how it looks like so far. Now you can see now the labels are appearing at this section. Okay, so if I let me just try and comment this out. Let me try commenting this out. Now when you run the application, this is what I'm saying, row 0, column 0. So we have to say that it should be hidden. I don't want the template to appear here, and the checkbox should not be appearing there. Okay, and then we also have to take care of this, so that's why we are hiding it at this section. Okay, so after hiding it, we can also hide it at the other columns. You can just come and say else, then you can confirm it. As you can see now, it's hidden successfully. So the next thing we're going to do is we have to display our data, okay, so that we can ensure that as you can see, the columns headers are not being displayed. So you can just cut this, then you can just come and take this, and then in this case we're setting the text, but now we have to set data row.column. Then we can run this. Let's ensure that it's appearing. What am I missing? Oh, sorry, this should be container. The container with objects plus 1. Objects with 1, and then we're just going to have this. Let me set the text. Then we can run it again. Objects are catered for 1, Object.find object. This should be a label. Label. Yes. So I have to get rid of the column name, of course, the checkbox that I've added. So now let's try uploading the data. And then the checkboxes be able to appear. So this is what column 0 or 0 means. So now we want to add some function so that when it is clicked, we're going to update the variable that we have selected here. So after doing that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a button down here so that it can maybe delete. Let's call it delete selected. It's going to be a widget, new button. As I can say, I call it delete selected. Call it nil for now. Then I can come here and say delete selected. Run it. Yeah, but of course now it won't do anything because it doesn't have any functionality. So what we have to do, we have to come back here, and then we have to ensure that once this checkbox is selected, we are going to add the data to this selected row. So we are going to add it here. This is what we're going to say. We're going to say checkbox dot set checked. Okay, I'm going to selected rows. Of course, I have to cater for the row number. Okay, then I'm going to say checkbox dot unchange, because it's going to be a function or boolean. And then if checked, okay, I can maybe change this to checked. If checked is true, what is going to happen is we're going to say selected rows, okay, id dot row. Have to capture that row. Then we're going to say it's true. That means it has been selected. Same thing is going to happen to this other side. That else it's not selected. Just going to set it to false. So after we have done that, that means we have populated our selected rows. So when we check, it's going to be added. Now let's add the logic for the delete button, and then we can just come and say func. And then I'm just going to first ensure that if the selected rows are empty, then we can maybe tell the person no rows have been selected. So I can maybe say if length of selected rows goes to 0, I'm just going to show a dialog that show information, and maybe selectors, or then I can say no, maybe no rows selected, or maybe we can just say something like please select a row. Then we can supply window. Okay, cool. After doing that, now I'm going to define a new data. Okay, I'm going to define a new data so that when we select, we just create a subset of the original data, and then we going to append it to the new data. Okay, of course, as we had defined it, of course it has to be the same structure, this one here. Okay, so after defining it, it's going to have string, and I'm going to say data 0. Of course, this one ensures that we are keeping the header. And then now we have to loop. We have to loop through our data. So for I equals to 0, but in our case we're going to start from 0, we're going to start from 1. And then I is less than the length of the data, of course. Length of the data. And then for doing that, you're going to ensure that if an item is selected, that means it is going to be appended into the new data. But now what is going to happen is we want to remain to assign the new data to this data here. So what that means is, if an item is not selected, because that's what we want to remain with anyway, okay, because this one is in memory. But if you're dealing with maybe data stored in a database, then you can do something else. So in this case, I'm just going to say if data is not selected, because I'm going to do that. If data is not selected, I'm going to say new data append. I'm going to append that data so that the not selected data can be, it's what is going to be displayed, because currently the data is in memory. Okay, now we're going to say data just a new data, and then finally we're going to say selected rows, going to reset everything else. Okay, and then but the last thing we're going to do is we're going to refresh table so that it can have latest data. So let's run this, then ensure that our app is running fine. I'm going to upload the data. I'm going to try doing that, and it's working, and then I'm going to delete selected, delete selected. Yes, so basically guys, this is how you can select multiple items and then perform various actions with that particular data. So in my case, I'm using an example where you can upload the data, you can select the data to delete it, you can bulk delete it by selecting multiple. Of course, you can add another button, say maybe select multiple, select all, or something like that. So basically, that's how you can bulk delete items in your Golang Fyne desktop application. Thank you guys, and see you in the next video.